Welcome to The Clever Angle, the podcast where you get job shadowing experience without the job shadowing. I'm your host, Tevin McGee, and each week I'll bring you a different career field and give you a roadmap of how to get there. So without further ado, let's jump into the show. Welcome back to the show. It's The Clever Angle. It's another new episode. I've got my friend Hunter West here with me today, film director. I'm really excited to do this episode because this is actually was going to be one of my first episodes, but things happen. I've got some new gear since then, and the COVID crisis kind of got our schedules all crazy. But we're back in the studio. Hunter, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. I know we were hoping to do this in person with all your gear,
Yeah,
so
yeah, I
come in and
know.
other ideas.
Yeah, so what have you been up to, man? How has this been affecting you?
It affected me really bad. A lot of the work I do is obviously around a lot of other people. We had a movie planned for March, and when the governor and the president shut everything down, we had to cancel the movie shoot we were doing. I had a bunch of corporate work lined up to do, and it all got canceled in about 3 days. So my whole, spring job wise got canceled out. And then I had just, clients I had, businesses, they were laying people off. And so, it for creatives, I think, and for people in freelance world, it was pretty much a bloodbath.
Yeah, so what have you been doing to keep yourself busy and entertained during this
So I,
slow period?
yeah, like most people, I got caught up on some house projects. We remodeled a bathroom. I got pretty good at cooking some dishes.
I
um,
saw that. I was like, I didn't know Hunter threw down on the grill like that.
yeah, I like to cook, and when that's all you have time to do, I think like a lot of other people too who are stuck at home, um, you sit around, you do stuff. So having the kids home all day has been an interesting. They've been out of school since mid March, and my wife's a teacher, and so she's been home too. And so the four of us have been pretty much cooped up for what has it been, 10, 12 weeks, whatever it's been.
Yeah, it seems like so much longer, but yeah, I think that's about what it's been to this point. But yeah, man, it's been pretty much the same on my end, except for, I mean, work really hasn't slowed down. It's kind of picked up a little bit, but yeah, it's definitely weird not being able to do much. Have you watched any good movies?
Dude, I have watched a ton. I took my kids kind of through the classics, and so we watched the Back to the Future trilogy. We watched E.T. I showed them a highly edited version of Braveheart. We got caught up on all the MCU movies again. So man, yeah, we've been when they tell you to stay home and watch Netflix, you stay home and watch Netflix.
So yeah, I'm a big MCU fan. What would you say your favorite MCU movie is?
Ragnarok, man,
Dude,
that's it for me.
that's crazy. I've asked a few people that, and I don't know. I just wasn't a fan. I'm not. I wasn't really a fan of Chris Hemsworth in that kind of comedy role. Almost,
Yeah.
they just kind of made the Hulk just very. I don't know. Thor and the Hulk in that movie just it didn't sit well with me. But I mean, I can see why people like it for sure. And then they kind of went in that same direction and made Fat Thor and Endgame, and I'm just like, come on, this is like the battle of the universe, and you've been playing Fortnite for a year.
I think finding what, but I think after how bad the second Thor movie was, making him a comedy star was probably about their only option.
That's true. Yeah, the Dark World didn't get that great of reviews, but um, I don't know. I mean, they're making another Thor, so it can't have been that horrible. So,
I
uh,
think it's the same director from Ragnarok, so you may not like it again, Kevin.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm interested in the plot
And we
of the
got
story.
Lady Thor. Lady Thor.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually a recent comic book arc, so I'm really interested to see how that's gonna go down. But yeah, man, I don't really know when the movie theater open back up, but I'm excited. They pushed back Black Widow a little bit. I think that's gonna be coming later this year, but I'm excited to see that.
I think it'll be really good, man.
Yeah, so okay,
Maybe she's not really dead. Maybe she's not really dead.
nah, I mean, man, like I said, I could go into theories of what I think this movie's gonna be because I've been,
Sometimes I want to see you diagram it out on like a chalkboard,
yeah, yeah.
just like
Hey,
Professor Tevin explains the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I'm telling you, man, because it's weird because this is gonna be like a prequel movie, like as her time as an assassin. But I've been hearing that the post credit scene is gonna be setting up the new phase. So I definitely think we're gonna see Natasha Romanoff in the next phase. And there's nothing can be ruled out when it comes to the Infinity Stone. So we will see. I'm excited for something Marvel. Like I haven't I'm not really a big rewatcher of movies, so I've been seeing a lot of people going back through the MCU and watching all the movies. But I mean, I've just seen I did watch Endgame again. I did watch Endgame, but that's about the extent of my rewatching ability. But
It's a good one to rewatch, man. The time travel's
it's
fun.
sad, man. It's sad. When
Yeah.
I felt for Hawkeye when he just turned around, his family was gone. I was like, man, I don't know what I do. I guess turn into a assassin and move to Japan.
It's your only choice. It's your
Yeah,
only choice.
yeah, it's your
Your
only
family
choice.
disappears on you, you just go kill a bunch of people.
Yeah, yeah, he was. It was good though because I'm glad that they kind of expanded on that character. But yeah,
He's got a TV show coming too, man.
he does. But it's all getting pushed back, man. It's all getting pushed back. I love Disney Plus. But yeah, all the TV shows are getting pushed back. That was the main reason that I wanted to pick up Disney Plus is because I'm like, okay, some cinematic universe TV shows. That'll get my $6.99 a month for sure. Just off that alone. But yeah, man. So we're here to talk about your career, which is movie based, which is one of my favorite things, one of your favorite things. It's a passion that we both share. So, can you just tell the listeners a little bit about your journey to becoming uh, the film director that you are today?
Yeah, so I mean, like most people who like movies, I found a VHS camera pretty early on and made my brother and sister be in little movies that I couldn't even really edit. We'd just shoot stuff and kind of grew from there. From college, I came to Arkansas State because I thought I wanted to be a sports anchor for ESPN. And so ASU was really good at that. Had a lot of opportunities to do a lot of stuff like that, but I took a video post production course probably my sophomore year, and they let you edit together whatever you want to. And so I made a little short film, got all my friends involved, and it did pretty okay, and it got me a little bit of looks for some people in Arkansas who were professionals at that, and so they kind of invested in me, and just kind of found other people in Jonesboro, Little Rock area who were interested in making movies, and got a little team together, and we made a few short films and had some fun doing that. And then in 2015, we raised $20,000 on Kickstarter, which, if you know anything about movie budgets, you know that that was not enough money to make a feature film. But somehow, with a bunch of college students and high school students, we made a feature film in 10 days that came out last year on iTunes, Vudu, wherever movies are sold, about human trafficking in Jonesboro. And so that kind of set us on this path of trying to make movies for a living, which we're still trying to do.
Yeah. So, what inspired you to make that movie about human trafficking? Like,
Yeah,
how'd you get that idea?
so I wanted to make something that, I have worked for Central Baptist Church and Journey all throughout college and even after college. And so I wanted something, a film that everybody could kind of get behind And somewhere in the process of us writing a script, there was actually a case where a mom from Brooklyn was selling her kids, and so the mom and 18 men got arrested for trafficking. I think she was 12 or 13 at the time, and so it really opened my eyes. It was right down, I guess, 2 blocks from my house, and you kind of know my neighborhood. It's not far from your neighborhood, and so the fact that that could happen in a good part of our little town just really kind of opened my eyes. And the more I started researching, the more I realized it happens in Arkansas and around the world all the time. And so I didn't know that, and we didn't think a lot of people that we knew that's how the situation was. And so we wrote a movie about what can happen when it's in your backyard and when it's people who are doing it who you least expect would be doing it.
Yeah, I mean that's a powerful thing. I didn't realize that all that went into it. So you said you made this movie in 10 days.
We shot it in 10 days.
Okay, yeah,
And
shot it. How how
yeah.
how long did it take you to like fully put it together?
So the thing in the movie industry that money gets you is things done quickly, and so when you don't have money, you don't get things done very quickly. And so we had really talented people work on our movie to do the editing and the sound design and the color grading. Way beyond the level that our movie is, the score. But it took about probably 7 or 8 months after we shot it before it was all put together, ready to be shown. And then again, when we tried to go out and sell it and get it picked up for distribution, that took a whole nother year. So, I mean, we went to film festivals for a year and then tried to sell it for about another 6 months before the movie ever came out. So, shot it in the summer of 2015. So, we're coming up in July. It'll be the 5th anniversary of when we shot it. But then it's only been a year that it's been out in stores. So, that's crazy.
Did much change from when you shot it to when it actually came out?
Yeah, no. So, I think what happens in movies and why I love them is that they are a constant fluctuating art piece and it's super collaborative. So, me and a friend wrote the script and came up with the story. But then when you invite, we had actors from all over the country that we flew in, and they bring their own, things to it. And stuff happens that you shoot that you don't expect from when you write a script on set. You're like, oh wow, that's really good. And then you get into an edit room, and you hate everything for a while, and then you start putting the movie together in ways that you didn't think it was going to come because you have to make it work. And so a lot of people talk about, which I'm a firm believer in. The most powerful person on a film team is usually the editor because they can do whatever they want with all that footage that you put together. And so, yeah, I mean, our film changed a lot from what we thought it was going to be to what was written to what was performed to what was edited. And then when you add in, like I said, all those great artists and technicians. When I first got our score in, talented guy named Davis Harwell did our score for us, and it changed the movie. Like it made it way better than I ever thought it was going to be. And when you hear the final sound mix, or when you see the final color grading, like everything just gets better and different than what you expected.
Man, that's really cool. I didn't realize that if you had shot a movie in 2015, that it could potentially be many years later when it came out. So that's
Dude, it is nuts. Yeah, and that's one thing I didn't know going into it either. Like I would see people who make a movie and then 5 years later they still haven't made their second movie, and I'm like, what have you guys been doing? Um, but on this other flip side, it just takes a while at this level of what you're doing. It takes a while at this level to get really anything done. It takes Marvel about a year to shoot their movies, and they're editing the whole time, but they have hundreds of $1 million they can put behind it. So, but a lot of these smaller movies that you see, they actors probably shot that a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
so. Take me through like what it was like to study film in college. Like, what was it like to get a degree in this field?
Yeah, so Arkansas State is known for, I would say, a lot of broadcast and sports stuff. But the thing that I loved about college was the freedom that they give you to have a bunch of equipment at your fingertips. And so I took a few classes that were probably filmmaking related, but well, a lot of what I did was on my own. It was me renting equipment, finding friends, um, and doing that thing. I mean, I studied the basics of lighting and the basics of editing and the basics of putting together a budget and stuff like that, which you need to know. Um, but Arkansas State, I think that's changed where they have more of a creative media focus now. Um, but the great thing for college for me was they just entrusted hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment to 18, 19 year olds.
So, what would be like the ballpark, would you say, price wise, of what it would take to make a movie?
Yeah, and again, that's all subjective. There's been stories of I have friends who've shot full length feature movies for $700. They borrowed cameras. That everybody worked for free. Their mom bought them food. Um, Movies always cost something, whether you get stuff for free or not, because somebody's paying for something. But I'm in the range of movies that cost about 100 to $250,000 to make. Um, whether or not I come up with all the cash for those is another is another question, or if people are giving me breaks. Um, I mean, it's different when you work for truly professional actors. There's a set rate minimum that you have to pay them for their union. When you work with crew who have union, they have set day rates that they make, and so um, it's getting way cheaper because you can shoot movies on your phone. It's getting way cheaper because people are willing to do some creative stuff, and you don't have to buy $200,000 film cameras and all the film to make it happen. But they're still not cheap if you want to do them right, and they're really not cheap if you want to make a living doing them, which is kind of the goal that I'm setting for myself now. Is I could make one, for really cheap, but I'm not gonna make any money off of it, and I'm not gonna be able to quit doing the stuff that I have to do to pay the bills every day. So eventually, if you want it to pay for all your bills and pay for you to have a living, the budgets have to be pretty high.
So, this is something I've always wondered. Where do you start when you are going to produce a film?
Yeah, it's got to start with a good story idea, and that's the hardest part. That's the part that makes me want to pull my head out at night. We the movie that we were going to shoot in March was a Christmas rom com in like a Hallmark or Lifetime vein, which is an idea and it's a way, and it's a way to make something with your friends, and it's a business model that I mean, I don't know if your wife watches them, but my wife does, and my grandparents do, and pretty much every woman I know watches Christmas movies on Hallmark or Lifetime or Hulu or wherever they're at in the Christmas time. And so, we had that idea, but then this pandemic happened, and we're like, well, do we still want to try to shoot something? And then you're trying to. It usually comes up with a grain of an idea, and then you've got to have a script that matches how good the idea is. So, I mean, we've got I've had with the guys that I work with, we've had great ideas, and then the hard part is trying to get them down on paper in a way that makes sense for everybody and makes you want to do the project. But yeah, I'd say you have to start with a good story, a good idea, and then you got to have a good script because you can't approach actors or other crew without one.
What is your role as a director on a film?
Yeah, so I mean, it changes for different people. For me, and where I'm at right now, I'm helping generate the content. So I've got a writing partner, Austin Lott, who generally, one of us will come up with an idea and we'll spitball it, and then he usually will go write a first draft, and he'll bring it back to me, and I'll, you know, tear it all up or say that's really awesome or whatever, and then I'll either write a second draft for him or I'll give him notes and he'll rewrite it and tell me all my ideas are terrible, and we keep going back and forth until there's something we like. For other directors, and this happened like the Christmas movie that we were gonna make. I'll get approached by other either screenwriters or producers who think I could do a good job with the script that they already own, that they've either developed or that they've written, and send my way, and you agree to take it on as your own. And so, but as a director, you're trying to figure out how you could make that story your own. And so, there's always notes that I'd have on any script, whether I, wrote it myself or whether I talked to the people who wrote it. Because if you're making it, if you're kind of leading it, you kind of have to have your kind of stamp on it. But yeah, filmmaking's weird in that way, dude. It's the most collaborative thing. Like, if you're a singer, even if you take someone's song, you kind of make it your own. You know what I mean? If you're an artist, or a painter, you're creating the thing yourself. If you're a writer, you write it and it's your thing. And you might have someone edit it, but it's your thing. But man, if you're a filmmaker, no one really owns it. It's all these people coming together to add their stamp and um, to put their mark on it. It's a really really cool art form.
With doing this podcast, I've been dabbling some in audio. What would you tell me is the biggest difference between editing audio and editing video?
More stuff, more things to worry about. I mean, audio. I've always told people this. Audio. That's the way you can tell who is an amateur and who knows what they're doing is by how their videos sound. People will forgive a video shot on an iPhone 4 or a home video camera. But if you can't hear what they're saying, you're not going to stay on that video for long. And so if it's got bad audio, that's the thing. Audio editing is really important, making sure that you're not clipping anything, making sure that the sound matches what you're seeing. But yeah, I mean, the video part of it, dude, is just it's more data. I'm looking at it right now. I think I've got 40 terabytes of hard drive space right now plugged into my computer.
That's
I've got
ridiculous.
most of it's full. The plugins that you have to have, the editing software that you have to edit, it's just more stuff. But they're both equally important.
Yeah. How do you sync up the audio with the video? Like if you have to make an edit?
Yeah. So, I mean, you've probably seen it, and that's what those things are for. But those clapper things that you see on like behind the scenes videos, um, where
Yeah.
the guy says action and slams the thing, that's what that's for. Is you make a sound that you can match up the video with, and you kind of keep everything tied together. Um, I mean, when you're an editor, you can cheat all the time, and so as long as it sounds like it's supposed to be there, that's cool. Most of the audio that you hear people saying or singing, um, most of the audio in a movie that you hear people say was recorded later, is fixed. It's moved around. I mean, you can cheat all the time, but yeah, you sync it up. There's programs now. I mean, you don't really have to use the clapper anymore. I know some editors would probably get mad at me, but Premiere has some stuff built in. There's a really cool software called Pluralize that'll sync up all your audio. Yeah, man.
Okay, so can you just give us a rundown on like some of the gear that you use? I'm really big into just the technology part of it. So, like, what are your microphones? What are your cameras and stuff look like?
Yeah, so depending on the project, again, because clients are paying for the project or you're doing it for a movie. The films that we shoot on red cinema cameras with cinema lenses, hopefully. I own a couple of Canon C100s, which are their low end cinema cameras for a lot of my everyday work. I've got a 5D Mark IV that I use for photos and video. I've got a couple of shotgun mics. Most of our narrative stuff, or even our corporate stuff, we use shotgun mics on boom poles, um, so we can get audio off of clients, so you don't see it's there. And there's one of them's a Rode NTG3 mic that we use for versatile stuff, and I've got some other hyper cardioid condenser mics that we use for dialogue stuff. Some field recorders, which I'm using for you today to record this podcast. We use those so that we don't have to run cables to the cameras. So you can record sound completely independent of what you're shooting, so everybody can run around and no one's tripping over cables. I still use Apple computers, so I've got an iMac. I edit everything on Adobe stuff, so Premiere and After Effects.
Yeah,
Trying
yeah.
to think what else.
No, I mean that's great, and I've started to see this stuff more, so it makes a lot more sense now to me. Where would you say someone would need to start if they wanted to get in, like in that type of world, as far as buying something?
That's a good question. I think if you want to start, so I think it's James Cameron, maybe. It's one of those famous directors who's like, if you want to be a film director, get out there with your friends, go shoot something, put it together, edit it, put it out, and then start calling yourself a film director. So I'd say like you just need to go make something. And so most of you have an iPhone in your pocket. You've got AirPods, which are a pretty decent microphone. There are some other things like Rode makes a really good wireless microphone for phones that you can use. But really, just whatever you have around you that you can go shoot and make something, so you can start calling yourself a filmmaker is what I'd tell you to use. I mean, I love DSLR cameras. That's what I started on. They're easy. They still work really well. They look great. Um, they're not super expensive. You can buy really good used stuff now. So I mean, but everybody's got a phone in their pocket, and most of the phones shoot some form of video. So I would say just whatever you have around you and whatever friends you have around you that you can go out and shoot something is what you should be doing.
Yeah, how long have you been doing video and shooting movies?
Um, I did really like now that I think about it, and I think it was this last time we talked, but I was doing it in high school and didn't really realize I was doing it because we were just being stupid. So I would say, I'd probably count college, and man, it's been 16 years since I started college, which sounds ridiculous. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Trust
but
me, my 30th birthday is coming up right now, and I don't
yeah,
know how to
dude.
handle it.
Well, that's why I freaked out and made a movie because I was like, man, I got to do something with my life. Um, so, but yeah, I mean, I would say 16 plus years of, and maybe even that, like you don't know what you're doing. I've been doing this for like 6 or 7, where I'm making a decent living by doing it. But yeah, I mean, and it's changed so much too because like I mean, our kids, I've got a little bit older kids than you, but I'm sure your kids know how to use your phone
Yeah,
intuitively, and my kids know how to. Like Ellie will shoot her own TikTok videos. You know what I mean? Like she knows enough to even edit stuff together. And I work with some high school kids, doing some different things with them, and they grew up knowing how to edit video. Like that's just what they did. YouTube was already around. We're old, and that stuff had to come to us. We had to learn how to do that stuff, but they've just seen it. So I think like people younger than us, about any 4 or 5 years younger than you, they probably already know how to do this. They may not know how to make money
yeah.
doing it, but they know how to do it.
Isn't it?
Everybody's a photographer now, and they do it
Yeah,
great. Like your wife just started doing photography, and her photos look great. If you would have done that 30 years ago, she'd have been doing it for Rolling Stone.
yeah.
but
Exactly.
but YouTube's around enough to where you can figure out how to do anything you want to do, and the gear has become more affordable for everybody. That the gap between good and amazing is not that far anymore.
Yeah. So how do you stand out?
That is the question, man. So that's the creativity is it. So like your brand now, when everybody can shoot a YouTube video, my content has to be more interesting, and my content has to be, um, and it pains me to say it, I don't even know if it has to be better quality, but it has to be better content. And so if you're a business, when everybody's on YouTube, you can't just have the same thing that every other business has. You got to do something different. It's either got to be better, or it's got to be more heartfelt, or it's got to be more you. But I mean, so as a content creator, as a filmmaker, like what I bring different to the table is how I look at things, not necessarily that I have a camera anymore. You know what I mean? Like everyone's got a camera. So it's not just enough that I have the degree, and it's not just enough that I have the gear. I've got to have the better idea, or the more interesting idea, um, and that's hard. And that's I work with guys who are they're technicians. So like one of my best friends is the camera guy I use, and I've got other guys that are sound guys, and they don't have to necessarily worry about the idea. They just get to come show up to work and do a really great job. But if you're going to be the producer or the director and you're going to make the thing happen, then you've got to have the best idea. And you talk about brain exhaustion of always trying to come up with great ideas.
So, do you have like a journal or something you write ideas?
Yeah, so I'm really bad at that, and I wish I was better. I take photos with my phone. If I see something that kind of inspires me. So far, my memory is pretty good, and I know a day's coming when it's not going to be very good. And so there's things like Evernote or the Notes app on my phone that I sometimes will jot things down or try to save things. And I'm sure that there are ideas that I have that I'm like, oh, I'll remember that I forget. But for the most part, right now, my memory's good enough, but I really do need to get better at logging those and cataloging those.
Okay, yeah. So, what type of genre of movies do you enjoy watching and then making?
Yeah, that's a tough one too, because genuinely, and this is not like a cop out, but dude, I love everything. Like, there are not, other than horror films, which I'm trying to be better at because there's so many people that like them. Other than horror films, I will literally like. Did you have the what was the name of the app, the card where you could go to the movies unlimited?
Not sure. I know what you're talking about though.
Oh man! All right, well, whatever that was, I'll think of it here in a second.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But dude, when that thing came out and I could pay $30 a month and go to as many movies as I wanted to, like I was indiscriminate. Like I would go see the crappiest thing that you could imagine, and it didn't matter because I was in a movie theater, and that's just my happy place. I love watching technicians work, like great cinematography and great music. I even love it when it doesn't work because no one sets out to make a bad movie. Everyone thinks that they're going to make a good movie, and they all put in really hard work. And so you can even learn a lot by bad movies of like, well, okay, well here's why that didn't work. But it's not because people decided that they wanted to make a stupid movie. I probably like that in between comedy and drama stuff the best. You know, uh, I've been into a lot of TV shows lately, which
What you
um,
watching?
well, but it's stuff I watch over and over again. I was thinking too, like what my top is. The ones that I go back to, like The West Wing, is my number one. It's just funny and it's heartfelt and it's serious. And then you look at my number, the ones underneath it, and I was trying to organize them, but like Scrubs is an all timer for me, and I found a way to blend the most absurd comedy with the most heartbreaking drama stuff. I love. I'm cycling through New Girl again. Stuff that makes me laugh. I don't know when you get in this cycle, and probably especially between quarantine. I don't want to feel sad too much. But New Girl, Parks and Rec. Those are stuff that I go back to again and again. Movie wise, it's probably more directory driven, probably than like a genre. Like I will watch any movie that Spielberg or Tarantino. I'm a huge fan. But dude, again, I'll watch any. Like I really will watch anything in a theater. At home, it's not the same rule. At home, if it's not good after 5 minutes, it's going off. But
Okay. Yeah, I've kind of got that same rule too. There's so much that you can watch on like Netflix and Hulu, but it
I
feels like
know.
there's not anything to watch at the same time. I'm like, all right, if this movie doesn't have me interested in the first 7 minutes, then I'm just gonna find something else.
But yeah, you don't want to be on your phone the whole time, which is another reason why I miss the movie theater, is because I'm not on my phone at the movie theater.
Yeah.
I did watch Extraction though. That was good
Yeah,
on
that had
Netflix.
Thor in his right role, Chris Hemsworth in an action movie.
Well, I think he's good as a comedian too, but we can disagree on
No,
that.
no. I mean, I think he's good as a comedian as well. But I just didn't. I don't like Thor in that role. His jokes and stuff are funny. Like I like the jokes, but I'm just like, this is like the God of Thunder, and he's talking about Fortnite right now. Like, what's going on? So that I mean, that's my only beef with it. I did have a question though. So do you think that you watch movies differently? Like, do you like watch the shot and listen to the music more?
Yeah, yeah. There's no way not to. If it's what you want to do, I mean, it's kind of like probably how me and you would watch basketball differently.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm gonna watch it for the entertainment value, and I'm gonna know what's happening, but you're gonna notice it from a technical place that I probably wouldn't notice. You're gonna notice the pick and roll and how great it was, or you're gonna notice that LeBron's not shooting from the left side anymore. He's only shooting like so. You can't help it, and it's kind of not fair for um, people that you're watching movies with. It's just you can't help it, and but I think you also appreciate it a little bit more um, because again, you can I don't really say that movie sucks anymore just because a couple hundred people worked on it really hard for 6 months or whatever, and so you can see the degree of difficulty a little bit differently, and it kind of makes you I don't know. It just makes me appreciate it a little bit more.
yeah, 100%. Speaking of basketball, did you watch any of The Last Dance?
It is phenomenal, so good.
It really was,
Um,
man. It was incredible.
and so you're about 4 years younger than me,
Yeah.
and I guess I would. So you were probably four when you retired, right? 4 or 5.
Well, in '98, I would have been,
Oh yeah, you've been like yeah,
yeah,
been 8.
7. Yeah, yeah,
So
7,
I
8.
was
Yeah,
12. So I was right in there, but a lot of that stuff, I don't remember. I mean, I remember that Michael Jordan was the best thing ever, but like specific details, I don't remember. I didn't remember, so it was great just remembering, you know, how good he was and how good the Bulls were then. But from a filmmaking standpoint, dude, I love the trick of showing Michael Jordan the videos of what people said about him. That's the best thing ever. I'm gonna steal that.
yeah,
Anytime I, anytime I interview people, I'm gonna be like, "Well, here's this video of what he said about you. What do you think about that?"
yeah. The you're talking about like the parts where they brought him the tablet, and
Yeah,
he was like, "Here's Gary Payton." He was like, "I had no problem with Gary Payton."
because his faces are the best.
Yeah,
They're all the memes and gifs we're gonna be using forever.
yeah. He had some great quotes in there too. I was like, "Okay, MJ, yeah, you had some witty banner in there as well." Okay, so we talked about types of movie. What would you say some of your favorite movies are?
Mm. Hmm. I guess I should write all this down, knowing that you're gonna interview me. Um, I love big, epic movies. I told you I let the kids watch some of Braveheart. We rewatched like The Patriot. Those aren't perfect movies, but they're fun. Um, I don't know, man. I don't just like spectacle movies. Like I think you want to feel something. I don't. It doesn't always have to mean sad, but like movies that make you think or inspire you, or um, you know, do 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 something different. I don't know. Like I'm looking through my iTunes movies right now to see what pops out at me. Um, you know, like, did you ever see the movie Hell or High Water? Like stuff like that's great for me.
Yeah,
It's just like an action movie about brothers. The movie Warrior. I don't know if you saw that movie. It's got Bane. What's Bane's name? Crap.
Tom
Tom
Hardy.
Hardy.
Yeah,
Yeah, there we go. Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton as MMA brothers who have to meet in the ring. Dude, that stuff's great. But again, like Infinity War and Endgame, ruined me. Like that was good stuff. Um, there's Jurassic Park is a spectacle movie, but it makes you feel inspired. Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise movie, dude, stuff like that. I love. Um, Last year, probably that A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. That movie got me. You talk about forgiveness and dad issues and stuff like that. I mean, that's just again, I'm all over the place.
No, that's good, man.
Creed, man, Creed.
I
That's
was
probably
about,
the best movie of the last 10 years,
yeah,
dude.
dude, I
That movie
love
is
Creed,
insane.
dude.
Moneyball, like that's
Yeah,
some stuff.
yeah, Creed too. I really enjoyed Creed too as well. Creed
Yeah,
2,
man.
I was like, man, I want to go out wherever he is and run behind the truck. I was like, man, golly. Just Mercy, that was a good one I've seen in the last
Oh, Just
year.
Mercy about killed me, man.
I know. That when they were like, that guy was about to get electrocuted, and he was like, we're all with you, Herb. We're all with. I was like, man, like I was tearing
Yeah,
up.
that whole sequence, dude. That was some rough stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So, what is some advice you would give to somebody that is looking to get in that type of world?
Make friends. That you can't do this job without knowing people or having people to work with. Um, and so it's all about networking. So if you're in a town like say Jonesboro, who doesn't have a huge artistic community like an LA or a Nashville or something like that, you just got to find people. So you can stalk people on Facebook. If you ask some of the people that are doing art stuff, they'll point you in a direction. But like finding those people that you can do stuff with, I would never have been able to do what I'm doing now had I not found those guys in college. Um, and those few years after college who liked doing the movie stuff and um, somehow convinced them to do all this stuff with me. So you can't make movies on your own. There's got to be someone in the movie, or you got to have someone holding something or helping you do something. Um, so yeah, networking is huge.
Yeah. So, other than being like a producer or a director, what are some of the other jobs that you could get into if you want to be in the movie industry?
Yeah, so I mean, it's broken into teams, and so you have your camera department, which has operator and assistant camera jobs, and they're underneath what's called a director of photography. You have your grip and electric department, which is all the guys who set up all the lights and who build dollies and um, move stuff around and rig stuff up. You've got your designers and your costume, hair, and makeup, production designers, script writers, editors, sound mixers, sound designers. If you like writing music, you can score films because directors are always looking for for music that they can use and not get in trouble for using. So I mean, dude, it's pretty much endless. I mean, there's accountants, there's caterers. I mean, everybody's got to eat when they're on movies. That's one thing that was different for me to get used to is, when you go to work, at your job, your place of business doesn't provide food for you. But in this world, that's one thing that I'm expected when I produce a film or a video. I'm providing food for everybody. So but there's no limit to what a good film set could use in terms. I mean, there's accountants that specialize just in that. There's lawyers that only do entertainment law. I mean, it's pretty boundless, man.
Yeah. So, a big thing about this podcast is how do you get there? Would you say it was necessary to get a degree to start your career in the movie industry?
No, and I know that'll make all of my professors and people that I helped me get through school sad. I don't think it is anymore. I think there are great things for certain people. Like if you are, it's great for networking. If you're in class with a bunch of people, you're gonna know people when you need to make movies. I think knowing what you want to do is probably better. So, like, again, if I were to want to go specifically for film, I probably wouldn't go to the school that I went to. Again, there's better film schools. Um, but there's also a wealth of knowledge on YouTube that wasn't around 10 years ago either. And there are super talented, famous directors and cinematographers who, have their own podcasts and do master classes. And like you can learn from whoever you want to now. And so, like, to learn the actual technician part of it, no, you probably don't have to go. Um, it's great for networking, for building up character, probably. Learning deadlines is a thing you're going to have, as a skill you're going to have. But everybody doesn't have to go to college to have a career doing to making content.
Yeah. So what would you say? I know you work for yourself, but what does like an average day look like for you?
We're talking 3 months ago, right?
Yeah, yeah, we're talking peak of your season.
Yeah. I mean, so I do a lot of like commercial work and corporate work to kind of to get in between movie projects. That's just what I save up money, or movies aren't, like I was telling you, the goal is for movies to pay the bills. It doesn't pay the bills for lots of people who try to do it. So I'm emailing clients, I'm editing work, I'm scheduling shoots, or I'm going on a shoot. Um, I'm following up with this. The other thing is I like working for myself, so I'm going to things at my kids' school and taking them lunch. Here when they get home sometimes. So, um, what I like about being freelance is the freedom of, I can say yes to a lot of jobs. I can say no to jobs that don't really fit with what I'm doing. Um, but yeah, but the other side of it is you do have to have kind of a hustle. So, you are in constant contact with current clients, with potential clients, trying to set up the next job. Having the freedom to decide what you want to do, be where you want to be is great, but you also have to actually go out and get work. And, um, I have to come up with ideas for clients. Like, my clients don't always come to me and say, hey, what do you want to do? Or hey, we've got this great idea. We'd love to hire you and pay you a bunch of money to come do it. Most often, it's like I have to go to them and say, hey, I've got this great idea for what we can do for you. Can we make this happen? So it's a lot of thinking time. It's a lot of brainstorming time. It's client relationships. It's managing. When I do have a shoot, I have to schedule it. I have to budget it.
So, if you could give some advice to your past self, what would it be?
Get a business degree. I think a lot of times creative types get their eyes glaze over when you talk about numbers. Math class was not my favorite, but there's so much of, if you want your art, whether it's photography or graphic design or podcasting or whatever, like if you want it to be a feasible job employment thing for you, if you want what you love to do to pay the bills, you're gonna have to be a business person. Um, if it's gonna go beyond a hobby, and so one of the things I wish I would have done at the very least is got a business minor instead of what I ended up getting. I've seen guys now, you talk about school. I've seen guys not go to school for film, but get an associate's degree in business. And I'm like, oh, dang, that's so smart. Because you can learn stuff on sets. You can learn the filmmaking thing of how to point a camera or how to edit this thing. But like, there's not too many people teaching. Here's how you write a contract, and here's how you, invest this much so that you can, when you're 50, you're not doing as much work as you're doing. So, I mean, definitely, I think some sort of, if you're going to go down the path to where your hobby is your career, that having a business sensibility is a must.
That's really interesting because I've always had the mindset that a business degree is just very broad and you can do a lot of stuff, but then you can do nothing. So it's really interesting that you said go get a business degree if you had like a creative passion that you want to make your full time job.
Dude, I'm just telling you, like that's one thing that they didn't teach, or somehow I missed the class or whatever. I don't know. Like contracts and budgets and unions and um, I mean, there's just so much of a business part that usually artists are not equipped to do, which is why producers and studios have always made the most money. It's because they know the business part of it. Um, and so, there's tons of things where I'm looking up um, legal language or different business things, or how to set up an escrow account, or how to financially set myself up not to have to pay a crap ton in taxes. So I think having a basic, and maybe and it may just be me where I'm just so lacking in it. Maybe if you grew up in a household where,
You're not the only one,
you
Hunter. You're not the only one.
know, I'm just saying maybe if your dad was like, here's how you do a checkbook and here's how you do your own taxes, and you kind of have that. Maybe you don't need it, but for those of us who didn't have that, I wish I would have some sort of business training.
Oh yeah, definitely. I wish I would have taught it in school, and that's one of the main reasons that I wanted to do this because I felt like there's a lot of stuff that I wish I would have known, and I just want this to be a resource for people to. If you've ever wondered about something like a career and you don't have like the time to go job shadowing or the time to go interview somebody, you can just listen to this podcast and you can hopefully grab something from that.
It's a great idea, man.
But yeah, man. So we'll wrap it up here. I know you got a lot of things going on your end. So what's one
You
thing?
mean children running around?
Yeah, yeah, dude. I'm telling you, the from 3 to 5 p.m. It's just me at the house, and it's just like just calm, and it's just I get to do podcasting stuff. So I completely understand. This would not be possible if my kids were here, for sure. So the way the fact that you're doing it is it's really incredible. I need to do a podcast on how you keep your kids away from you for an hour, and do adult
It
things.
didn't work. You saw it.
45 minutes. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you sitting down with me. But like I said, is there anything that you want to get out there to the listeners that they need to know about your career field? Any closing
Uh,
words?
it's way harder than you'll ever expect it to be. There's a reason why most people don't do it. Um, and I think that what I'm learning is, and this might be the way with most jobs, is the ones who don't give up are the ones that end up making it. So um, it's really, really hard. um, even I would say, even the stuff that I'm doing in town, like it's really hard to convince people to pay you to make videos for them. But if anything, like if it's what you want to do, the ones that don't give up are the ones that end up making it, which is simple and a dust statement. But I just think there's so many people who start out with a great idea, um, and it gets hard and they give up. And if you don't give up, eventually you're going to be the only one around with the experience that you have, who can do the thing. So just keep at it. Don't give up.
Yeah, and if you had to just sum up in a few words what you love about your career, what would those words be?
There's nothing like making something with a bunch of people that's cool, and there's nothing like seeing your work in a movie theater or seeing people rent it on iTunes. Like that's just cool that you can make something in Jonesboro, Arkansas that people all over the world are watching. Is interesting and neat. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like seeing actors and camera people and hair and makeup people, like people who are really good at certain specific things, come together to make a thing. I mean, you can't beat it.
Yeah, well, Hunter, I appreciate you sitting down with me, man. I'm sure I'm going to be catching up with you in the near future. But yeah, this was great, man. I always love sitting down with you. So you have a good day, man.
All right, dude. Talk to you later.
All right, man. I just want to take the time to thank everybody for still rocking with us. Follow us on social media at The Clever Angle on Instagram and at The Clever Angle on Facebook. Stay tuned for more content. We got some great careers coming down the pipeline for you guys. And like I said, connect with us. We want to know what you guys think about the episode. We hope you enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun. And until next Thursday, everybody, peace.